fighting with Canada, we fighting with Mexico, yet we in love with Putin. What is happening? Like, this is not America. This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the up, because I'm ready to get on with it.
Democrat members of Congress, we've become a third world hellhole. That's Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, keeping it classy as always. She is the third world. Let's face it, the Democrat Party represents the third world and third worldism. Another one I've been talking about for years is that the left delivers the third world. Everywhere the left takes over, they bring third worldism with them. Today's Democrat Party is the third world. They're the left. And Jasmine Crockett, didn't she go to private Catholic schools her whole life? This video emerged over the long weekend. It was a long weekend for me because I was out sick Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with some kind of Chinese communist virus that the commies are stirring up. They're trying to develop a bioweapon that only affects sane people and no lefties. I've been working on that. It's like the sickle cell anemia bomb, which the Soviet Union worked on, by the way, because they love bio-warfare. They love biological warfare. The commies do. Anything to take 1 million lives, and they're in. They're in. Count them in. Democrat Party's in there, too. Aren't they amazing? Wah, wah, wah. Well, good Monday to you once again, and welcome back. We are at 888-630-9625, and the number of stories I have in front of me because I was out for 5 days. First time I've been out for 5 days since the sea cruise last year. That was the last time. And I wasn't sick. I was feeling great, having a great time with great Americans, sailing the 7 seas. Well, a bunch of them anyway, if not all 7. How many seas are there? Well, at least 7 that we know of. There are more, I can assure you. Remarkable stuff. But with the Democrats being what they are, just nutty. And I've got to say, the story that the Heritage Foundation they cracked the code. Joe Biden and the Biden White House, it's not even Joe Biden using it, it's the Biden White House. There is no reason to believe that Joe Biden was behind the use of the auto pen to sign everything in the Biden administration. But there is reason to believe that he had no idea what was being signed. And the Heritage Foundation raises a series of questions, including who was using the auto pen to sign all of these official government documents. And let's say, for example, Joe Biden announced he was pardoning Liz Cheney. Let's just say that. And then there was a signature on the pardon. But Joe Biden didn't sign it. White House staffers used the auto pen to sign Liz Cheney's pardon, Hunter Biden's pardon. So are those pardons valid? Are they legal? Are any of the documents with Joe Biden's auto pen signature on them legal if Joe Biden is oblivious and was at the time oblivious to the fact that these documents were being signed at the White House when they were being signed with an auto pen? Isn't that amazing? Someone was forging Joe Biden's signature and illegitimately putting these documents in the official record. We're talking about bills and executive orders. We're talking about everything except for the document the Heritage Foundation found, except for the document that Joe Biden signed saying that he has decided not to run for re-election for a second term as president of the United States. That, the oversight project at the Heritage Foundation discovered that one signature was actually Joe Biden's signature, but practically everything else signed during the Biden administration, 4 years of hell, were signed using an auto pen. So is any of that legal? And who was behind using the auto pen to sign everything? And how many felonies did these Democrats commit? These are important questions raised, again, not by the New York Times, not by a congressional committee investigating, but by the Heritage Foundation. I'd like to see the Republicans in Congress take a look at this, too. That might be helpful. Wah, wah, wah. But there's another story, because over the weekend, you may be aware that we had spring forward daylight saving time, right? Leap out of daylight saving time. And so last night we had sunset after 7 p.m. on the East Coast, at least in Washington, D.C. It varies depending on where you may be. And I've got to say, I've been a fan for a long time of doing away with this time change stuff, the fall back, leap forward. And of course, I want to keep it in the leap forward mode, where we are now as of yesterday, really, 2 a.m. Sunday, Eastern time, spring forward, set all your clocks forward, which I dutifully did yesterday. And we just moved, so I might have missed a clock or two, I'm not sure. But I got about 8 clocks at home, and then my car is always the trick, the dashboard of my car. And so, where's that time change on the dashboard thing again? And everything's computerized to the point now where you've got to go down rabbit holes to find where you switch for daylight saving time. And it's not daylight savings time, as I think virtually every media person I heard over the weekend, daylight savings time, it's daylight saving time. You're only saving once, like that. But it's an interesting practice. And I am a fan of the idea of doing away with daylight saving time, just staying right now. And I was texting with people over the week. I was home mostly in bed. My best girl had the same malady that I had last week. She had it before I did. I'm not blaming her for it or anything like that. But she had it before I did. I also, a friend at Newsmax was out for a full week with a nasty thing. And so was it the Wuhan? And he said, no, he tested negative for the Wuhan, but he was still out sick for the whole week. And then I tested negative for the Wuhan, and I was out not quite for the whole week, but, I'm still not 100% today. And it was a week ago, Tuesday night, that I started feeling poorly, mighty poorly. But in any case, let's get enough about me. Wah, wah, wah. Who cares? Just shut up and talk. It's kind of like shut up and sing. So the Wall Street Journal with a piece over the weekend, the myth behind daylight saving time. They got it right. Whether you love to spring forward or hate it, it doesn't work as advertised, a Yale economist says. That's what a Yale economist, he went to Yale. In fact, he works there all the time. Of course, I remember when Elizabeth Warren worked at Harvard all the time. So I really don't take anything that the Ivy League tells us seriously anymore, because they tend to be wrong about everything and full of hooey. Hooey. That's the polite version. But I've got to say, this interesting Wall Street Journal piece got my attention over the weekend. Most Americans set their clocks forward on Sunday, they wrote on Saturday, the annual ritual that allows them to start fighting about daylight saving time an hour earlier. It's a funny little thing where Justin Lohart writing the story in the Wall Street Journal. The experience, interrupted sleep, tired children, is so distasteful that in recent years there have been growing calls to get rid of the clock change altogether. I've been in favor of getting rid of the clock change altogether for decades now. And let me say this also. I've had daylight savings my entire lifetime, and I've never found that when we spring forward, oh no, I lost an hour's sleep. My sleep patterns are not so precise that, I got up an hour earlier. Oh no, rubbing my eyes with my knuckles, Oh no, I didn't get enough sleep. I've never had that experience. I've never found, gosh, if I just had one more hour's sleep, but daylight, and I'll never get to sleep on time. My sleep pattern, I guess, is not as permanently regular as the sleep patterns of some people. But I can, I go to sleep 2 hours later tonight than I went last night, and get up an hour and a half earlier tomorrow, and I don't notice the difference, but that's me. So the Wall Street Journal saying President Trump has seized on the cause. In fact, we brought in a soundbite today of President Trump. He was asked about daylight saving time and whether we should get rid of daylight saving time.
When are you going to get rid of daylight savings time?
Okay, are you ready?
He said savings.
This should be the easiest one of all, but it's a 50-50 issue.
50-50.
And if something's a 50-50 issue, it's hard to get excited about it. I assume people would like to have more light later, but some people want to have more light earlier because they don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. And it's a little bit one way, but it's very much a 50-50 issue. And it's something I can do, but a lot of people like it one way, a lot of people like it the other way. It's very even.
That's true. And that's been true for quite some time. Although I think the number of people that want to do away with daylight saving time has been growing. But President Trump is in politics now, and he sees it as a 50-50 issue. Everybody keeps talking. I was talking to my best girl last night, and one of the big phrases of the month is it's an 80-20 issue, like transgender children in schools, 80-20 issue. The Democrats are in the 20. They love child genital mutilation because there's something terribly wrong with them. But the Wall Street Journal writes, President Trump has seized on the cause. Quoting him, the Republican Party will use its best efforts to eliminate daylight saving time, which has a small but strong constituency, but shouldn't, he said. That's what he wrote on Truth Social in December. But in 2019, he tweeted, making daylight saving time permanent is okay with me. See, now that would be where we are now. I would like to stop where we are now, not where we were on Friday, but where we are now, so that it's, of course, I don't have kids going to school, and that is the big thing, is kids going to school and all that. But when I was a kid, we went to school at 3 a.m. We had to march through minefields and waist-deep snow with shovels fighting off North Koreans. I'm exaggerating slightly. Did have to walk in the cold in Chicago, mile and more away, but never mind that, because the school bus was too scary because of our bus driver, Tuna Bell. Tuna Bell was so scary. She was a big woman. She might, if you were her foster child, she might sit on you, but she was, Tuna Bell was our bus driver. She had those big glasses with the points on them and the jewels and the chain around her neck and stuff. She smoked nonstop. Tuna Bell, take us to school. She was great, actually. I love Tuna Bell. But then we started walking. I wonder if anybody else out there remembers Tuna Bell, our bus driver as kids. Womp, womp, womp. She was a big one. That's so preliminary findings back to the Wall Street Journal from Yale economist Matthew Kotchen with Ariana Salazar Miranda. She's got a lot of syllables in her name. Aaron Manzura and Steven Sekila. And in some places, daylight saving time saves electricity, while in other places, it uses more, with the overall effect across the U.S. basically a wash. So if the idea is to save electricity, save energy, it doesn't do that, which is not surprising at all. The upshot is that the electricity saved by behavior such as leaving the lights off until later in the evening is spent in the darker mornings by doing things like turning on the lights earlier to make sure our socks match. Want to make sure your socks match. So Wall Street Journal said if the idea is that it saves energy, this gang of economists at Yale, whatever they're worth, they say it doesn't actually save any energy, so that argument doesn't hold water. Then there's the kids in school. I don't have any kids in school or otherwise, so that's pretty good. And we got that going. So I say we've said it, sun sets after 7 p.m. now. Let's just leave well enough alone. We don't have to keep going back and forth. Come on. Sounds like the Incans or something. Let's just leave it the way it is now. We can go out later. The sun is up later. It's wonderful. It comes up later in the morning, too, I know. But come on. Get with the program here. Just leave it alone. No more daylight saving time. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. It is our first day back at work after spring forward daylight saving time adjustment. And it's interesting. People are responding to that because it's kind of a big deal. This spring forward, fall back stuff. I've been a fan of not doing that anymore for a great many years. Just leave it alone. And leave it right now where the sun sets later and comes up later. I watch sunrise every day. I watch sunset if I'm in a position to do so every night. I like being on an Earth that rotates on our axis and takes laps around the big ball of fire. I keep track a little bit. Let's go with that. Let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Mitch, calling from Chicago, Illinois, listening on the great WLS. Mitch, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, and thanks for taking my call.
You bet. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. You're the best.
That's true. I kid. But thank you.
So with daylight saving time, and we just moved the clocks forward, the simple answer to the school issue, I believe, is just let the school start an hour later, and that would solve the school start time issue. Just executive order, the school time start 1 hour later.
And that's the fix. Boom, you're done.
Exactly.
And the entire nation, and like there are going to be some places, you're in Nebraska, you're going to say, we don't need to change anything. Just, get up and go to school. And it's sometimes in the wintertime, it's a little darker because days are shorter and get over it. But I love the idea, actually, of just saying, well, let's start school. If that's the issue, then let's start school 1 hour later instead of having daylight saving time affecting the entire population. We'll have the winter months when it is darker early because we're on the other side of the sun and all of that good stuff, and the angle of the Earth on its axis and all of that, and we'll start school a little later. Now, I guess parents are inconvenienced by that, but here's the important thing, Mitch. I'm not. It's a little joke. I'm not inconvenienced. See, why would I be inconvenienced? Look, Mitch, I think that's a good thought. I don't think I've ever heard anybody suggest that before. But rather than upending all of society, why not start school an hour later? Mitch, it's the Mitch plan, right, Mitch?
Exactly.
The Mitch plan. I'm with it. See how normal he sounds? Isn't that great? Mitch in Chicago. Still have normal people in America. Democrats, I've come to the conclusion, having grown up in a Democrat Party household, I've come to the conclusion the Democrat Party has become a very silly party. Sure, a dangerously violent, criminally insane, gender dysphoric party, too, filled with terrorists and assassins, and just look at their history. But they love crime. And they hate police, which I think is kind of peculiar. They don't think that's kind of peculiar, which, again, I find to be odd. Now, there is a story that the New York Post wrote, came out on Saturday, because, the Democrats love open borders and illegal alien gangs all over the country, and they like to give them free plane tickets and give them your car and your daughter and the keys to your house and stuff. Democrats. Now, here's the story from the New York Post. Illegal migrants with long rap sheets, as to see career criminal illegal aliens that the Democrats brought into the country, arrested in L.A. murder of family man who tried to stop catalytic converter theft. This is very big in D.C. and in L.A. and elsewhere. Democrats go around breaking into cars and stealing catalytic converters. And then they sell them because there's a market, an aftermarket for catalytic converters, because nobody wants to pollute our beautiful skies. So, hey, can I buy your illegal alien stolen catalytic converter from you and put it in my car? Because I'm very concerned about the environment. We're very concerned about the environment. They had, who was the guy that was so concerned about the environment that he self-immolated at the Supreme Court a couple of years ago? I should know his name, shouldn't I? He should be famous because he got the ball rolling, I think, on the self-immolation trend that the Democrats have taken. Speaking of trends, picking up trends and stuff, you see, I hope to get to this story. The high school track star lady in Virginia that bashed her competitor in the back of the head with the baton and gave her a concussion. And what do they say? Maybe a skull fracture or something? They should know by now. Isn't that amazing? These people, Democrat Party. So back to the New York Post piece. 2 murder suspects who allegedly killed a Good Samaritan in Los Angeles County while he was attempting to stop them from stealing his neighbor's catalytic converter, not even his own catalytic converter, were in the country illegally and have lengthy criminal records. The Democrats say, hey, voters, aren't they amazing? Wilber Alberto Rabanales and Jose Christian Saravina Sanchez, way too many syllables for a man's name. See, mine is pretty perfect. Chris Plant, all right? It's not share, but it's one syllable for a first name, one syllable for a last name. I think quite economical, perfectly sized. But these guys, Wilber Alberto Rabanales and Jose Christian Salavina Sanchez, were arrested by police in the Los Angeles suburb of Inglewood, beautiful Inglewood. And they were arrested for the murder, because they murdered him, of Juan Miguel Sanchez, who was being a good neighbor and a good Samaritan. So naturally, the illegal alien career criminals murdered him because Democrats are arranging for more of that. The incident was caught on surveillance video, just in case there's any question. Rabanales, a Guatemalan national, listen to this now, has been arrested at least 15 times in the last few years in the county, in Los Angeles County, predominantly, hang on now, on gun charges, grand theft, burglary, and drug charges. Sounds like a good neighbor. You want to have marry your daughter. Police sources told Fox News he has multiple grand theft arrests, mostly for stealing catalytic converters, and past charges for multiple DUIs, conspiracy, felony possession of a gun, a felon in possession of a gun, possession of burglary tools, possession of meth, that's methamphetamine, it's an illegal narcotic, possession of stolen property, and felony hit and run during a police pursuit. Sanchez has been arrested at least a dozen times, mostly for grand theft, gun charges, drugs, burglary, kidnapping, possession of meth, and possession of burglary tools. See, they're good friends. They're, birds of a feather and all that. So the two guys, they've got a lot in common, and that's why they hang out together. The victim was shot in the chest after he confronted the suspects, the illegal alien gang member career criminals, while they were allegedly, you don't want to leap to any conclusions here, allegedly attempting to steal the catalytic converter of his neighbor's house. And here are mugshots of the guys. And if you saw them on the street, you'd say, they're a couple of criminals. Now, here's the important part of the story. These guys have been illegally in the country as illegal aliens for years. They've been arrested at least a dozen times for one, at least 15 times for another, for gun charges, narcotics charges, grand theft, all this good stuff, right? And were they put into prison after the 12th arrest? Were they deported from the United States and then we secure our borders so they couldn't just saunter back into the United States? No. You know why? Why, Michael? Because of Democrats. That's why. Because of Democrat Party policies that say, oh, let the career criminal illegal alien who's been arrested 15 times just wander free again. Let him go. Don't put him in jail for 5 years for Now, let's wait till he murders somebody, and then we'll spend millions of dollars incarcerating these two guys for a long, long time, because this is the Democrat Party's idea of civilization. And it's not my idea of civilization, but the entire Democrat Party, from Barack Obama, who's a racist, to Hillary Clinton, who's a misogynist. I just want to throw that in just because. And the Democrats, they're like, hey, shut up, racist, because they love to call everybody racist. If you point out that these guys are criminals and they're illegal aliens, then the Democrats call you a racist because their brains are very severely broken. Man, oh man. Just amazing stuff. Now, these guys were grabbed by the police. Victim shot in the chest, confronted him, and allegedly stealing catalytic converter and all that good stuff. Now, the criminals, the suspects, they were grabbed, and they escaped in a car, and they were later arrested in a motel in California, about 15 miles from Inglewood. And the young man that was murdered trying to do the right thing, the victim's sister, Susana Sanchez, said that he would have turned 49 on April 4th. Would have turned 49 on April 4th. But instead, he was murdered because of Democrat Party policies that create a great deal more of this, as opposed to sane policies, also known in this case as Republican policies, which would incarcerate career criminals with 12 or 15 arrests on serious crimes. And when you find out they're illegal aliens, you might even plan on deporting them after they do some prison time in a terrible, awful, horrible prison, which doesn't scare them at all because the prisons they come from in Guatemala and stuff are much worse. But that's your Democrat Party. Aren't they amazing? And you know what else Democrats want? They love illegal aliens and all that stuff. But at Club, they hate the Jews. That's one of the weird things about the Democrats today. Now, the people at Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE arrests Palestinian activists with green card at Columbia University, attorney. That's the ABC News headline there. And they've got this Mohammed Khalil, who's a Palestinian activist, and he's in the United States on a green card, and he's a leading organizer of anti-Israel protests. All right? And the Democrats, they say, oh, no, we need more anti-Israel protests in the United States and more organized. You know, Barack Obama was a community organizer and an Alinskyite. Saul Alinsky, who dedicated his book to Lucifer, who is Satan. And they have after-school Satan Club. I think it's time we banned the Democrat Party at this point. But here we go. Immigration Customs Enforcement. The Democrats want more of this. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents arrested Palestinian activists Mahmoud Khalil, a leader in the Columbia University encampment movement. On Saturday night, he was arrested, claiming that his student visa had been revoked, according to attorney Amy Green in a statement to ABC Fake News. However, Khalil is in the United States on a green card and not on a student visa, Greer said Sunday, the attorney. And ABC News is outraged. Yeah, he's not here on a student visa. He's here on a green card. All right, well, then let's revoke his green card instead of revoking his student visa. And let's kick him the hell out of the country and catapult him into the Atlantic Ocean and see if he can swim his way back through the Strait of Gibraltar and then all the way to Gaza, where things are really good. Despite informing agents about his legal status, ICE detained him, she said. Well, he's here on immigrant status, their Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They arrested him because we've had enough of foreign, criminal, genocidal racists organizing college campus protests to terrorize Jews, our Jewish brethren, and sisterin. I never want to leave out sisterin. You know, brethren and sisterin. Amazing stuff. At one point during a phone call with the agents, they hung up on Greer. the radical attorney. Gee, I wonder if she was incredibly obnoxious and they hung up on her. I'm thinking she probably was. A representative of her law firm told ABC News. She's got representatives at her law firm that talked to ABC News. Department of Homeland Security personnel spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin addressed Khalil's arrest Sunday night, saying, on March 9th, 2025, in support of President Trump's executive order prohibiting anti-Semitism and in coordination with the Department of State, the Democrats want more anti-Semitism. Even their Jews love anti-Semitism these days. It's a mental illness, this thing called liberalism today. U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement arrested Mahmoud Khalil, a former Columbia University graduate student. Khalil led activities aligned to Hamas, a designated terrorist organization. So he is a foreign Muslim man, a genocidal anti-Semite. I'll call him a terrorist because if you want Israel wiped off the face of the earth, then you're a genocidal terrorist. And the Democrats applaud that because that's when they discover free speech. Now, if you want to pray, take a knee after a high school football game and pray, then they'll fight you all the way to the Supreme Court to try to prevent you from doing that. But if you're calling for the extermination of the state of Israel from the river to the sea, then the Democrats will hire legal teams to back you. ICE and the Department of State are committed to enforcing President Trump's executive orders and protecting national security. Imagine that. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also shared an article about Khalil on Sunday night and posted on X. Oh, by the way, Twitter is down. X is down today. I'm not sure for how long it's been down, but X is out of commission right now. I'm going to guess that the Democrats have something to do with it because while they burn Tesla dealerships and Tesla charging stations, there's some things they like and some things they don't like. They don't like Elon Musk because he's on our side. He's on the side of civilization. And the left is here to destroy civilization. The Democrat Party is the left. So Marco Rubio shared an article about Khalil, posted on X, which the Democrats have taken down. Well, it's back up. X is back up, you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Is that yes? I'm not. That's up. Okay. All right. So he said, we will be revoking the visas and or green cards of Hamas supporters in America so they can be deported. I think that's an excellent idea. I'm in favor of that. I would say that if you're a supporter of Hamas, you should be catapulted out of the country. The giant one of those cantilever catapults that, as far into the Atlantic Ocean as we can put you. But the Democrats are very much in favor of more Khalils, and they don't want them deported because they want more terrorism, more racism, more racial strife, more racial division, more conflict, more combat, more violence, because they're not liberals, they're the left. Huge. So Khalil will be deported. We got the Secretary of State involved. Yeah. And saying, because I saw the media last night was hysterical. Oh, no, he's not here on a student visa. He's on a green card. Well, then cancel his green card. How complicated is this? And deport him the hell out of the country. He's a terrorist or terrorist supporter. I think they should be frowned upon. Call me old-fashioned. Whereas I every now and then still get a whiff of the charred flesh from inside the Pentagon after September 11th. It lingers, I remember, not so fondly. You know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier has finally arrived, and it builds on the incredible success of the previous generations of Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifiers, which quickly became bestsellers, 5-star reviews all over Al Gore's amazing internet. And the new Eden Pure Thunderstorm uses 2 technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses, removes dust and pet stuff and smoke and all kinds of things from the air that you breathe, helps get rid of any odor, and you don't have to buy filters over and over again to replace. That's annoying. No annoying filters. The Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky odor. Guaranteed. Litter boxes, stinky shoes, left-wing protesters, no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. And this week, You buy one thunderstorm and you get one for free. No matter how many you buy, you get an equal number for free. See, buy 5, you get 5 for free. They're great gifts. Put them around your house, the office. Great stuff. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code ChrisBogo, ChrisBogo, for buy one, get one. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ChrisBogo. Yes, sir. Ah, yes. Yeah, the Democrats are against deporting this guy because they're not on our side. They're against deporting criminal illegal aliens in Los Angeles. Now they've murdered a nice young man, and the Democrats go to lunch. I'm beginning to think they don't care about human life. ABC News has a story today, the porn industry versus parents. Parents want to make sure that they keep age limits on access to porn. Porn industry does not want age limits on porn. ABC News, they're with the porn industry. They've got a lot of issues, these people that call themselves Democrats. They're amazing. Now I see, let's see. All right, let's grab a quick. Let's talk to Valerie calling from Chicago, Illinois. And Valerie, you're on the Chris Plante Show. I don't have a ton of time, but I wanted to get you in here.
2 quick things. Number 1, I'm glad you're feeling better. Welcome back. Number 2, I'm a proponent of standard time. We're going to shift time no matter what we do, but the antiquated idea, and they changed it from the farmers needing more daylight. The farmers have more headlights and utility lights on their tractors than ever. They work all night long now.
Yeah.
So I say just go back to standard as a measure of normal. And then really quick, they steal the catalytic converters.
Yeah.
Because unscrupulous scrap yards buy them because of the platinum that's in them.
Oh, see, I didn't know about that. That's great. Valerie, you're wonderful. You have a great voice, too.
Oh, thank you. And
ran out of time, though.